Welcome to the third lesson of our course. In this course, we are going to explore the following CLI commands. Before we start execution of the following commands, I would like to expand our switch capacity from 4 ports to 8 ports. We can do it by right-clicking, saying Edit, and checking the Ethernet port groups from 1 to 2 and saying Save. In this case, we expanded the switch capacity from 4 ports to 8 ports. Now I want to add additional virtual PCs. Let's say VPC, which are tiny Linux PCs, which do not consume a lot of RAM and CPU. And I want to add 4 of them. Or let's say 3. And I say Save. Let's move them to the upper position above the switch tree. And let's connect them to the switch. We have 3 ports left, like E10, save, E11, save, and E12, save. So only 3 port left, which we are not going to occupy with anything else. Let's start the switch. I've already started the router, and let's start the Windows 11 PCs, because it takes some time to have them booted. Let's start the virtual PCs. Let's console to PC number 6. Let's say question mark. In order to make the PC acquire DHCP address, we should say DHCP. DHCP. You see the process of DORA is going on. And the virtual PC has acquired IP address of 100. Let's go for the next virtual PC. And we also say DHCP. And virtual PC number 7 acquired the IP address of 104. Let's go next. Virtual PC 8 and say DHCP. And the VPC 8 has acquired the IP address of 105. Let's see what is going on with Windows 11 PCs. The username is test123. Let's wait until the PC is going to log in. And let's check one of the comments on our CISCO router. Comment regarding the DHCP leases. Let's say enable, the password is 111. And we should say show DHCP server. Show DHCP server. If you can see into the statistic, it says leases 1, offer 1, request 1, acknowledge 1. It feels like there is only one lease, but let's see the reality. Looks like the statistics are a little bit different what I was expecting for. Let's ask for show DHCP lease. Show DHCP lease. it shows us the IP address of lease is 192.168.13.63, which actually the DHCP client lease, which has a lease server of 13.1, which is my home router. Default gateway is 13.1, which is the home routers or my local area network default gateway. Next time fires after 6 days. So the lease time is for 12 days, and after 6 days it will prompt for the renew the lease again. The client ID of the router Ethernet port 00, in case this is this one. So the command show DHCP server shows us the server, which is my home router. So it has nothing to do with the server which is inside the router tree. But we want the information from the router tree, DHCP service. And the command that we can check how many requests and offers has been done is by saying show IP DHCP server statistics. There is a very long output. The interesting part for us is like DHCP discover, 13 discovers received by this DHCP server so far. DHCP request 9 done. Let's see what else we have. Let's run it again. And DHCP offer of 10 times was done. DHCP acknowledge of 6 was received. So these 6 computers should be these 3 and these 3. There is one more interesting comment for the show IP DHCP server. It's called binding. And we can see the output as below. Let's run the command again. We can see that the following IP addresses were assigned to the following MAC addresses or computers, and this is the lease expiration time. And the interface on which the request was done, it was Ethernet 0/3, which is this one. We can minimize the router CLI and open the switch tree CLI. Let's increase the size of it. The password was 111. And the first command that we are going to check is show MAC address table. Show MAC address table. As you can see, the switch can see that all 6 computers are on VLAN 1. These computers have the following MAC addresses on their Ethernet interfaces. And the MAC address which is seen, for example, this one, is visible on port Ethernet 1/0. Let's check. 1/0 is this VPC6. VPC6. Let's see if it has the MAC address that the switch can see. Let's say show IP. And the command show IP gives us that the current virtual PC has an IP address of 100, gateway of 1, DNS of 8.8.8.8, DHCP server is 100.1, which is our router, DHCP lease, MAC address, which ends with 6806, and here we can also see 6806. So as you can see, the switch correctly identifies which MAC address is coming from which Ethernet port. Next, the command that we will check is show MAC address table dynamic. Actually, from the previous output, we already have seen that the following MAC addresses were seen or were learned dynamically, so that there is nothing new. So it means that show me the MAC addresses which I have learned dynamically and which are not statically set by hands manually or by CLI manually. There is a possibility to edit the current MAC address table and write the MAC address table manually, say that this MAC address is only available from that port, which we are not going to do now. The dynamic part is working flawlessly and is suitable for 99.999 of the situations. Next command that we are going to explore is show MAC address table dynamic VLAN, let's say 1. What does it mean? It shows us the MAC addresses which are seen on VLAN 1. We can see only 4 MAC addresses because due to no any communication for the other 2 PCs, they have timed out their chem table and they just being deleted. So that we see just 4 now. If we wait longer, we will see even less MAC addresses and their types with their respective ports. If we say, let's say VLAN 2, which we don't have in our switch, we will not see anything. You can play with the VLANs, or we can play with the VLANs, what we are able to see in our next lesson, where we are going to build a large switching lab, which will include VLANs. Next command that we are going to check is show MAC address table, dynamic address, and let's say show us, for example, AA, BB, CC, 00, 40, 30. So if we want to see some specific MAC address and we have, let's say, hundreds or thousands of these MAC addresses and we don't want to go through all of them to find out if that specific MAC address exists and where we see it on which port, we can type the MAC address itself and can find out that it is available on Ethernet port 00. Ethernet port 00 in our case is our router default gateway interface MAC address. Let's go next. Show MAC address table dynamic interface and the interface ID. Let's say E0/3. This is actually this PC and its MAC address is visible on Ethernet 0/3. Let's check if this is the reality. Let's look into the PC is doing something. Cancel. Skip. Let's go to the CLI. And say IP config. We actually don't see the MAC address on IP config. That's why we should say config all. And as you can see here in the output, we can see its MAC address here. It starts with 50 and ends with 01. And here we can also see 50 but it doesn't end with 01 because it's network connection 2. But we have connected our PC. Let's try again. The screen is a little bit small, difficult to see. Let's increase the size of this CLI. IP config all, yes. We can see that we have Ethernet 1, Ethernet 2. The Ethernet 1 contains the physical MAC address of 50.0.0.0.1.0.0.0, which is equivalent of the MAC address we see on our switch 3 on Ethernet port 0/3. Let's see if this is the reality that our computer has 2 ports. Let's say network, settings, Ethernet, and as you can see, we have two Ethernet ports. Let's go to the network sharing center to see in old style. And in the old style, we can also see that we have two Ethernet interfaces, and one of them is connected and has the following MAC address, and the other one is not connected, and it has the following MAC address, which ends with 01. Okay, let's go for the next command. Show MAC address table count. Show MAC address table count. And the system counts for 4 MAC address. Why? Because we didn't touch other systems. It doesn't see anything. Let's make it count 6 by saying maybe ping 8.8.8.8. Then saying here ping 8.8.8.8. VPC8 is ping Google DNS. Let's see the latest status. So the latest status shows us 7 now. Why? Because we have sent the pings from these computers and the switch has refreshed its MAC address table. As you can see, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 MAC addresses, which is this three, and this port. Let's say show MAC address table aging time. And the current aging time is 800 seconds, which is more than 5 minutes. The default value is 600. Last time I changed it to 800. Let's expand it to something larger. We can say conf t MAC address aging time. The minimum value is 10 seconds. The maximum value is 1 billion seconds. Let's make it something larger. For example, 8,000 seconds. Now we exit and go again and say show MAC address table aging time. Now you see it has 8,000 seconds, so it's around 1 hour. So within 1 hour, even though we switch off those computers, those 6, the MAC address table will still be active, which will occupy the memory of the switch, which is not the optimal one if we have a lot of coming and going devices, like thousands of thousands, which will overwhelm the switch chip memory capacity. If the switch memory capacity will be exhausted, it will start to broadcast all coming new unknown packets or frames. Next command which we are going to test is clear MAC address table dynamic. So by saying clear MAC address table dynamic, we will destroy everything what was learned dynamically just 3 minutes ago. We say enter, and now let's see back again. Show MAC address table. There is only one option, and the option is which is communicating with the default gateway. Let's go next. Show interfaces status. Show interfaces status. And we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 interfaces. All of them show connected and all of them show full duplex. What I wanted to point here, one important thing, that we have Ethernet interface 1/3, which is not connected to anywhere, but the system still shows that it is connected. and it's full. This is not a bug, this is a feature of EVNG Community Edition. Whatever interfaces there are available on the switch or maybe the router, but mostly this is relevant to the switch, it will show like the switch interface is active, but you will not see any traffic on that specific interface. We will explore this in more details in the graphical user interfaces when we will go through our MikroTik MTCNA course with labs. Okay, let's explore the next command. Last time when we set the clear MAC address table dynamic, we were able to even add interface or VLAN. Let's say if we say VLAN 1, it will clear all MAC addresses which were learned dynamically on VLAN 1. If we say option on that specific interface, let's say is 0/0, it will clear all MAC addresses which are learned on that specific interface. If we say a specific address, then we should specify a specific MAC address that we want to be removed from the current switch random access memory. We are not going to test them all one by one, but basically you should understand that these options are available. Next command that we are going to explore is show MAC address table instead of dynamic static. Show MAC address table. As you can see, we have an option of static. And as you can see, there are 0 entries. The reason to this is that the static entries are those entries, as I stated previously, the ones that we enter manually. So far, we didn't enter any MAC address to interface binding manually. That's why we don't have them in the list. Next command that we are going to explore, which is not related to the interfaces, but related to the CLI, is, for example, if we say do show run, or just show run, when we go to the console interface settings, which is here, line console 0 logging synchronous. This logging synchronous command in console or VTI mode tells iOS to send log messages to the user at natural breakpoints between commands rather than in the middle of a line of output. What does it mean? It means that if we do not specify logging synchronous, if there are any logs which will be sent by the switch to the CLI, they would disturb our command writing. Let's check. So by saying configure terminal, line console 0, you can say no logging synchronous. If we do it like this, let's say do show run, you see in the console line there is no more option of the login synchronous. What does it mean? If we do some comments and some console message from the switch will pop up while we were writing any comment, it will just disturb our comment and will split it into several pieces, which is not a convenient approach. So in most of the situation, it is a good practice to have the logging synchronous activated. Normally, as you can see on the latest version of the switch iOS, the logging synchronous is enabled by default, but in the old switch or routers, you should activate them manually. Let's bring it back and see if it's back again. Yes, we can see it is back again. So I highly recommend to keep the logging synchronous active. Let's end this. There is one more command, which is logging console, which doesn't work from here. we should say conf t login. And as you can see, there is a command called console set console login parameter. Let's say login console. And here we can specify what kind of logs we want to see from 0 to 7. By default, we see everything like alerts, critical debugging, errors, emergencies, warnings, notifications, information, etc. I mean, all kind of severities. What we can do that we could say that we don't want to see them, or we don't want to see any of them, and we say no logging console. In this way, we will not see any logging messages anymore. So let's save it. Do show run. Let's see if it was activated. We don't see it specifically for any console lines. Then it should be a general command. And the general commands are usually started in the beginning. I don't see it. No logging console. Let's try again. Let's say do write. Let's say do show startup config. Next command that we are going to explore is exec timeout in minutes. Exec. Actually, we should move into the console mode. Line console mode, line console 0. Exec timeout. And here we can say the timeout of the console, let's say 1 hour, 6,000 minutes, no, 60 minutes or 600 minutes, 10 hours. What does it mean? It means that while we are not active and not using this console, it will not time out and not log off us. This is actually very useful in your lab, but may not be useful and may be a security concern if you are outside your lab and in the production. Let's say if you have your CLI opened and your computer left open, not locked, somebody can come and use your CLI to destroy or modify the configuration of the switches or routers. So I do not suggest to keep this timer too much high in the production environment, but in the lab environment, you can keep this timer maybe even to 10 days without any issues. Next command that we are going to check is show interface status. Let's say show interface E0/0 status. We can see it has a name connected to R3, VLAN 1, full duplex. Let's see some another interface. Let's say E0/3. In this time, it doesn't have a name, but the status is still connected and the interface is VLAN. And the duplex is full. And the type of the speed is auto-negotiated. We don't know it. Or we cannot see it from the current output. Let's add a description to that Ethernet interface 0/3. We can do it by saying configure terminal and saying interface Ethernet 0/3 and saying description and put a text to PC1 Windows 11. Enter, do right, exit, exit, and now let's go again and see the interface status. Now we can see that it has a name which shows to PC1 Windows 11. If we say show interfaces status, we can see all of the interfaces which are available on the switch, all 8 interfaces, and 2 of them has name or the comment. The last comment to PC1 Win11 we just set manually. If we just want to see the description, we can say show interfaces description. And as you can see, instead of seeing the duplex mode, speed mode, type mode, we just see the interface name, the status, the protocol is up or not up, and the description. So I have set the description only to Ethernet 0/0 and Ethernet 0/3. The other ports do not have a description. Description is very useful if you are troubleshooting some issues on your network. If you are new to the network and the network was built by somebody else, and if that somebody else put a description here where each interface or what each interface is used for, it will take you less time to troubleshoot or to expand the network if the network doesn't have a graphical diagram. Okay, this is all what I wanted to show you in this lesson. As you can see, we have explored all these commands in the lesson 3. This is all what I wanted to show you in lesson 3. See you on the next lesson. I highly recommend subscribing to my YouTube channel so that you don't miss any new lessons or setup guides that I release.